So we're about to release our integration with DuckDB, and I can't wait to show you what this means for machine learning engineers. So I'm looking at Hugging Face, and it's essentially a platform for machine learning engineers to share training data sets for things like large language models and other AI products. I'm looking at the Iris dataset, which is a classic Hello World example dataset. I'm going to pull the Parquet link to it, so I can essentially pull this data down into Quary. So I've just pasted that link into the schema file. And I've also created a very simple select statement to pull that data from Hugging Face into our machine. So I'm just hitting on the documentation here, and I can see the data is loaded correctly. I can also see the structure of the data as well, and we can start adding the columns to our schema file. I'm going to add a test to the ID just to make sure that we haven't got any null values. And I'm also going to ask the AI Copilot to remove the null values from this query. And that will essentially go ahead and hopefully generate a script that is correct. I think that looks good to me. So that should filter out the values in this table that are not null, which is great. So now I'm going to run a quick query just to test that there are no null values, especially in the ID, which has passed, which is great. So I now want to essentially remove the outliers from this data set, specifically the sepal length. So now that will essentially create a query and update it to remove some of the outliers from my table. So let's say you're training a machine learning model. You might not want to include some of the higher or lower values just to keep a nice smooth average. So in this case, it's calculated the interquartile range, which is great. And it's going to give me only some of the average values. And I'm going to accept that change, run the query, and it's going to give me the cleaned up table. It's removed the outliers from the data set so that we have nice training data for our machine learning model. So I'm now going to essentially push this into my database, into my DuckDB database, push the views inside of there so that we can use those in our training. So if I head over to dbeaver, which is a very popular database management tool, I should be able to see in my data set that we have so we have the training data that has been cleaned, that has been tested, and is now ready for downstream consumption.